Good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Lee Hite, and my voice is cooperating. What I wanted to start with this morning is I've been drinking a lot of tea the last 24 hours to work with this, and so I wanted to share some yogi tea wisdom from this morning. I saved the little tags. May your head and heart speak with one voice. That's a good one. Smiling is the most basic kind of peace work. PEACE work. That's a good one. And gratitude leads to love. There we go. God bless Yogi Tea. All right. This morning we are continuing our journey exploring aging as a spiritual practice. And the 3 chapters from this week were impactful, no doubt. And so I have some highlights from that and a couple other reference points and a couple things from Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Centers for Spiritual Living and the author of The Science of Mind. So we are going to start, though, with Louis Richmond. And he brought us this week the 5, what are attributed to Buddhism and the Buddhist teaching as the 5 fears. The 5 fears. Death, illness, losing one's mind, loss of livelihood, and public speaking. So, as we age, death, of course, is something we consider. We've been talking about this, a little bit every week. We've got X number of heartbeats. We have X number of trips around the sun. How we handle that, how we deal with that, how we face that. We all do it on our own way. Of course, from a spiritual perspective, we look at things from a little more cosmic, universal, infinite way. We frequently hear us talk about being a spiritual being having a human experience, spiritual being having an earth experience. There's a great little radio play I think I mentioned a few weeks ago called, I invite you to go look, it's hilarious and it's really great. A little radio play called The Human Holiday. It was a BBC radio play. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. It's a new way to look at this experience. But we look at this and we say we have a beginning and we have an end, and there is that time. And in between birth and death, we look at these other fears: illness, for one, losing one's mind, loss of livelihood, public speaking. Well, public speaking, I don't know. I mean, some of y'all, it may not be a thing. You may get excited about it. You may have learned to teach the butterflies to fly in formation. It works. I get to talk nice to them. And here, we talk in the Science of Mind, Centers for Spiritual Living, we talk about thoughts being things, about how we determine our life experience based on our beliefs, right? And so this morning, last night, I had the sore, scratchy throat. It's been going on for a couple of days. Last night, my throat started getting worse, and I started getting into the whole, law of attraction, spiritual guilt thing, right? Hey, you're out here teaching this stuff. I mean, thoughts are things, your belief determines the nature of your experience. What's up with your throat? What's going on with that? And I was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not playing the spiritual guilt card. Because I can remember back when I was in ministerial school, if we got a sniffle or a cough or something, and some fellow student, some new student typically, would roll up, hey, what's going on with you? Got a cold? Got a little confusion going on there? What's happening? Trying to lay the whole, you should be above this kind of stuff. No, we don't need to do that. We meet illness, we meet stress, we meet challenges, first and foremost, by being willing to accept where we are, understand where we are. It's like if I meet somebody in my life and I see they're struggling mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, it's like, hey, how can I support you right now? It must be really hard to be going through what you're going through. Is there anything I can do to help? Can I just listen? I don't need to fix you. Ain't broken. See, because if I can see you as not broken, I can see you as whole, that helps the process. I don't even have to say anything. My job is to perceive your wholeness. And that's our job with each other, is to see the best, to love each other into a new place, a new way of being. Excuse me. Illness, losing our minds. Yeah, so physical health, mental health, being in the world, all these fears, all these anxieties, we look at them and we say, okay, what can I do better? What can I do next? What can I do today? How can I be today to move into a new place? And I wanted to read you this one because Ernest Holmes doesn't say a whole lot about death, but he does here. And I forgot to bring this up earlier, but I want to go back to it because I thought it was important. I think it's important. And it's in the glossary in the back of the little book, Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. God is not a God of the dead, but of the living. For in his sight all are alive. Spirit is both birthless and deathless. That's what we were talking about earlier. Spirit is eternal. It's always present. The principle of life cannot know death. The experience of dying is but the laying off of an old garment and the donning of a new one. There are bodies celestial and bodies terrestrial. There's a material body and a spiritual body. The spiritual body is the resurrection body. The physical body is just a piece. It's a part. It's part of the equation. And most certainly it reflects, or it is a reflection and outpicturing of our thoughts, ideas, and beliefs about ourselves, about the world, about each other. And so moving from this fearful place, not so much to a fearless place, but a faithful place, where we're turning away from the fear, per se, or looking away from the fear. We know it's there. And in turning to a place of faith, where our belief sets the limit of our experience, where our belief in something greater than we are can pull us forward into something new, into something more expansive, something more expressive. Reverend Donald Kopke, in a study he did and an essay on aging and spirituality, said this: that as we age, we begin to think about the value and meaning of life, tending to look more interior than exterior. I say that's true in my experience. I see a lot of nodding heads. Are we agreeing that this is true? Okay. I'm saying that's pretty true for me. And it's been my experience of a lot of people. I mean, for me in my life, I mean, the inner life experience has been going on a very long time. But we start looking, we start sensing or feeling like there's more days behind than there are fewer days ahead. We start getting that place where we're like, I don't know. We'll see. If I turn the corner, what am I going to do with the rest of it? And he goes on to say that, to live in that place is to live in a place of mindful awareness, where we're paying attention a little bit more to how we feel, paying a little more attention to making choices that are life-giving rather than life-limiting. You see, because when we start looking at the fear, we start embracing fearful thoughts about those 5 things that that we got from Buddhism. We start looking at those things in a fearful manner. We start restricting the flow of life through us. Because all of a sudden I'm grasping hard onto those limiting ideas. I'm grasping hard onto ideas that aren't really loving and joy filled. Because it's hard, really, really difficult to hold on to fear and love at the same time. It's hard to hold on to fear and joy at the same time. How do we hold on to both? We get to choose one at a time. We take one step at a time and move forward. We take one thought at a time and say, you know what? Even in some of the most challenging times, what if I just close my eyes and smile for just a minute? A smile can shift it all if I can wake up enough in the moment. I know it's hard. I had some times this last week when I was like, I just literally wanted to throw my laptop across the room because I was so frustrated with some of the things that were going on. True. But I stopped, and I was stopped. I said, take a breath, Lee. And I did. I stopped and took a breath, and I smiled. I was like, okay. And I felt better in the moment. I was able to shift it. I was able to have that pattern interrupt moment where all of a sudden, okay, life can be good. Yeah. A pattern interrupt is a powerful thing. We can take those moments where we're getting all wound up, all upset, and maybe somebody close to us just says something as simple as, hey, popcorn I smell. You all smelt it, didn't you? Because we have that memory of the smell of popcorn. It's so ingrained in us. Somebody just says it out loud. Internally, we smell it. I know I do. And it can shift everything. You take that pattern interrupt moment, or you turn on the music and get up and dance around the house. Do something to change it. Do something to shift it around. To break free from the fear, and all of a sudden now I'm able to take the opportunity to choose love, to choose joy, to be happy, to be something more than I was in that just previous 30 seconds ago. Because it's a new moment. And in every new moment, I get to choose something different. If I choose to. Lewis Richmond goes on to say in the reading from this week, the human spirit, so full of heart, is unquenchable. That should be two. I like that. Yo. Whatever extent, to whatever extent we can engage with it, it nourishes us at every level, physically, emotionally, spiritually. The human spirit, the heart. Am I living from my heart? Like Yogi T said this morning, where was that? May your head and heart speak with one voice. I did make that connection earlier today. May head and heart speak with one voice. What's possible for you when that happens? What's possible for us when we are so in alignment that my head and my heart are everything is all moving in the same direction? There's no longer any disconnect between the two. All of a sudden, it's all synchronized up, and I'm in alignment, and everything works. And all of a sudden, all those fears disappear. The fears of death, the fear of illness, losing my mind, loss of livelihood, public speaking. When I am in alignment, None of that matters because I'm living right now. To be that in alignment, I have to be in the present moment. And sure, there are varying degrees of it, but when I'm totally present and I'm totally focused and totally aligned, nothing can touch me. And everything's possible. One of the things that can free us up, because this is one of the things I find that has held me back more than anything else in life, is carrying resentments. Walking around with a sense of unforgiveness, of having a bunch of regrets about things I've done, about things people have done to me. These are the things I find that hold me back more than find that have held me back historically. And Ernest Holmes has something to say about this. Let me see if I find the right quote. Yep. He talks about forgiveness. He says, "The mind which condemns understands not the truth of being, and the heart which would shut the door of its bosom to one who is mistaken strangles its own life, closing its eyes to a greater vision. The biggest life is the one which includes the most. Not that we foster vice or place a premium upon wrongdoing, but that we understand the frailties of human nature and learn to overlook much. To him who loves much, much is forgiven." And one of the other writers that I was looking at this week, uh, where did it go? Was a Reverend Carol Johansson. And she did a workshop. She did a program uh, with senior citizens. And she did a lot of things. But one of the big things that she pointed out, one of the exercises that she had them do was look at three people I need to forgive. And two, three things for which I need to forgive myself. Three things for which I need to forgive myself. What am I holding on to? What are some of the regrets maybe that I'm holding on to, things that I've done in the past? And what are the things that, when that person pops into my head, it's like, oh, either I'm upset about something I've done, or I'm upset about something they've done, or something we've done together. So I just offer this idea to you as something to consider, right? As a path to freedom. Because every time I realize that I have something in my history that when it comes up, I get triggered, I get upset, I get mad, I get sad. Maybe that's something for me to let go of, to make peace with, to find some contentment around, do some. So there are a lot of ways to look at it. Do some writing, do some meditating on it, do some praying on it. Spend some time. It's an investment in you. It's an investment in my own peace of mind and your own peace of mind. And health and wholeness come up out of that as well. A sense of well-being that allows me to move forward with a greater sense of freedom, a greater sense of wholeness, a greater sense of peace. Because all of a sudden I'm not upset about that thing anymore. That thing they did or that thing I did. And remember, forgiveness. Forgiveness is always for us. We do that for ourselves. To free up that space, to free up that energy. And sure, frequently we have to talk to somebody else about it, but that's okay too. That opens the door for them. Because it is so, so, so powerful to reclaim ourselves in the process. Lewis Richmond goes on in the book to talk about this little exercise. And I think I'd like for us to do it together. The last one, there we go. So we're going to say this stuff together, if you would like to. The first, we're going to go through all three of these lines. The first time we will lead with may I. The second time through, we will begin with we. And the third time through, we will begin with all beings, or may all beings. So may I, may we, and may all beings. Are we with me here? All right. So together. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy and at peace. Okay. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be free from suffering. And may we be happy and at peace. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be free from suffering. And may all beings be happy and at peace. So take your pictures. Yeah, if you want to take it with you, I will put it it'll be in the Mindful Monday thing. So I will make sure this makes it into Mindful Monday for tomorrow morning. If you would like to use that, might be a nice way to start the day. Start the day and the day. Right? And for me, as I look at, the theme for the month has been aging as a spiritual practice. Sure, I'm aging. We're all aging. I'm older now than I was when I walked through the door when I came in. It's just a fact. Am I going to get all wound up about it? After reading especially after reading everything I've been reading about aging over the last couple of weeks? Nope, not anymore. I'm over it. It's what I do. And it may come up from periodically, and it may rear its ugly head as maybe it takes a couple extra days to recover from a trip to the gym, or I tweak my back because I lifted wrong, or, all that stuff. All the stuff that happens. But at this point, I refuse to get all wound up and upset about it. I'm just not. Because I've got this moment. I've got today. I get to walk through this. And I get to walk through it with all of you, and I get to walk through it with all my, other friends out in the world, spread out all over the country, all over the world. And that's a joyful thing. Isn't it? To have friends, to have the connections, to have people that I know I can reach out to, just to have fun, or people I know I can reach out to who will listen to me if I need somebody to listen to me, or to even feel like I'm needed, to feel like there are people that count on me. That's a heartfelt thing too. So it's kind of like like I read in the meditation this morning. It truly is. Walking this life is truly about the connections we make. How connected am I to life? And the more connected I am, the more inspired I am, the more uplifted I am, the more at peace I am. Because I know that I am loved and cared for, and I have people that love and care about me, and I can care about them. And we get to celebrate this life together. We get to celebrate love together. We get to have birthdays and parties and anniversaries and little trips on the lake like we're going to have in a couple weeks. How fun is that? We get to have new experiences with each other. And not just the people here, the people out there listening in internet land, on the interwebs, and the live stream. How exciting is that? How many people on the live stream right now? 8. That's pretty cool. And I go back and I look, and some of the videos have as many as 80, 90, 100 and some odd views in the first week and a half. That's pretty awesome. Those are lives we touch. We touch because we do this together. Sure, I'm up here talking every other week or so. Reverend Joe gets up there and talks every other week. We do this dance together, and we learn and grow together. We move from fearful to faithful together. Fearful to fearless to faithful. And whether we are wound up about aging or not matters not to me so much as it is how wound up and how excited am I going to get about living each day. I wake up in the morning and I take a breath and I can move. That's a win. And I get up in the morning, I sleep in a little bit till like 4:30. That's no joke. Sleeping in to 4:30, that's a big deal for me. And that's awesome. I go for a walk in the dark and watch the sun come up. That's pretty cool. Think about how many wonderful things you've done this week that maybe you take advantage. Maybe we take them for granted. I think maybe we take a lot of things for granted. And when I decide to get excited about the little things, feel grateful for the fact that I have breath in my lungs, feel grateful for the fact that I'm that my hands work, that I had a cup of coffee this morning, that I've got this cup of tea back here. Oh, where is it? There it is, over there, with honey in it. And it's still warm because it's in the little carafe thing that has kept it warm for 2 hours. I can be grateful for that. I can be grateful for the people that I met here 2 years ago and the people that I'm going to get to meet here later on this morning. Fearful to fearless to faithful. Love, gratitude, joy, giving attention to the things that matter, letting go of the things that I no longer have any more control over, other than to just forgive and let go. That's power. That's presence. That's love. That's bringing spirit to bear in everything I do, touch, feel, and experience. That's what we get to do. That's the opportunity we have each and every day, is to do those things. To be filled with loving kindness, to be free from suffering, to be happy and at peace. Doesn't get much better than that. Does not get much better than that. So now we'll move into the Q&A portion of the morning. So, questions? Thank you, Nancy. And I'm going to let's keep it to 3 or 4 this morning. The voice is starting to shake just a little bit.
May I say something?
You may.
Thank you. So, having worked in hospice, I witnessed many people going through the end of life stage. Mm-hmm. Some people had their heels dug in, no, I'm not going. We don't have a choice there. But I saw others who, like you said, were faith-filled, knowing that this is just a transition. It's kind of like the transition we made when we were itty bitty babies, and we made a transition from the womb into this world. And now we're going to make a transition from this world into another world. Mm-hmm. And like you said, our spirits are energy, and energy doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. So it was an awesome thing to witness for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
So I want to be like them, the ones.
Right, to just
Yeah.
flow into the next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Mhm. Anybody
Okay.
else?
I just want to say briefly, I was sick about 3 weeks ago, our picnic, and I had a little stomach thing for 3 days. I was really embarrassed because I'm a science of mind person and I'm sick with a stomach thing, not for 1 day, not for 2 days, but for 3 days. So I had to really get over that and
Mm-hmm.
realize that there's
Mm-hmm.
some things that just are. But it was a little, at the time, I thought this can't be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And frequently, I mean, who knows the reason? Why? Why is such a trap? We start asking, well, why this? Why that? Da, 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 da. Man, that's like rabbit hole time. Who knows? Right? It can be really frequently. It's just very simple. It's just, you know what? I need to stop. And I'm sure that's a lot of what this is about because I've been so busy the last couple of weeks. I just need to stop. And so, I have an agreement with my partner that this afternoon we're going to go sit down. We have to do laundry. Laundry's a have to at this point. And we don't have a washer and dryer in the space, so we have to go to the laundromat, which is kind of an adventure. So, anyway, we got to do that. But then after that, we're just going to go chill out by the pool. That's it. Going to stop. Going to stop. So, because come Tuesday, we start moving. So, that's the whole thing. But the point being, frequently it's just a message of saying, "Hey, you need to take care of me. I need to take care of me. I need to slow down just a little bit." So, all right, thank you, Diane. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Okay. What's practicing? Is that what's next? Mindful Monday. So, Mindful Monday, I will be writing this up at some point later today. Um, Writing up the Mindful Monday. If you want to sign up for it, you can point your camera at the little QR code or email the email over there. Sign up for it on the website. I think there's a spot there for it as well. Yeah, it goes out every Monday. Oh, yes, and then there's the analog version. There is like a pen and paper sign up sheet out in the lobby as well. So, practicing the principles. So, this is what I'm inviting us to do this week. 1, 3 people I choose to forgive. And 2, 3 things for which I choose to forgive myself. So, and I just thought of an extra bonus, and I didn't send it to Joe, but I will give you the bonus. The bonus assignment is to write your own 3-sentence eulogy. How do you want to be remembered? I'm working on that one myself. So, and I'll tell you where that comes from. I have a dear friend who's a life coach, personal coach. His name is Christopher Rausch, and he has his. And I've heard his so many times. I wish I could like rattle it off, but I can't. And every time I hear him say it, it's just a powerful thing. And as he did it for himself when he was in his 20s, and like the third of his friends had died, approximately the same age, because they were a rowdy crew. That's just the way he was raised, and he tells the story all the time. So I'm not telling stories out of school. But all of a sudden, once he stood there and he was looking around, and he's like, "Hey, if I don't turn things around, I'm going to be the next one there." So he decided to write his own. It's like, how do he write his own? How do I want to be remembered? It's like, I want to be remembered for, I stood for. So I invite you to consider that one as well. And I've been working on mine, and it's kind of odd, but it's also kind of freeing. It's also kind of freeing because it gives me a sense of focus for where I want to go, what direction I want to go with things. So, all right, with all of that, let's take everything into prayer, and then we'll have our final song and we'll start wrapping things up. So, join with me. Close your eyes, let them rest gently. We begin with gratitude today. I want to begin with gratitude. And feeling a sense of gratitude for this time this morning that we've had to share. And gratitude for the awareness that we have been gifted with this morning. Gratitude for the insight, for the love, for the joy, for all those experiences, because we have come together in recognition of one power and presence that is life, that is love, that is joy, that is an infinite spirit in which we live and move and have our being, and it in us, as us, right here, right now. And I recognize this connection. I recognize the flow of spirit as each and every one of us here this morning. How we have drawn each other here for just this moment, just this purpose. The synchronicity and serendipity are here. There are no accidents. We are here for each other, blessing each other. And so we set aside the fear, any doubt, any uncertainty in this moment. And affirm and know for each other that all is well, that life is good and very good as each and every one of us. We ask a blessing on anyone out there in the world, anyone out there in internet land, all around us, knowing that each and every one, no matter the faith tradition, we call it good. We ask and affirm a blessing on each and every one. And we receive the blessing here for ourselves, knowing that this spiritual community is growing and expanding, is blessing the lives of each and every one here. And we are drawing to us right now a new experience of new individuals, new people who would like to celebrate life with us. And we celebrate them now. And so we go forward into this week and into the rest of this day, grateful for our awareness, grateful for the lessons, grateful for the growth, grateful for each other. And so we let it be. And so it is.